Hey everyone, welcome back. It's a lovely evening and I'm down at the unit here ready to do some work on the 72 Squareback. This car is more or less standard mechanically, but it does have Weber 34 ICT carbs on it, and it's still got the mechanical fuel pump, which I think is delivering too high fuel pressure. These carbs are quite sensitive to fuel pressure and they need much lower than the stock fuel pump delivers. So I've got a few bits and pieces that I'm going to do fit to change that. So first of all, new electric fuel pump. This is a Huco 133010. It's a 2.1 psi fuel pump. Then I've got a filter and some fuel line, some clips and some hardware, and a fuse holder. And then just some fuel clips there, and some more there. So the first thing to do really is get the car up in the air on the lift and figure out where I'm going to mount the fuel pump. It's a suction type, so it needs to go at the engine end rather than the tank end, but there should be plenty of room under there, so I'll figure that out first, get the pump mounted, and then we'll get it wired up, and hopefully that should solve things, because although the car runs well, it's using a lot of fuel and it is quite difficult to start when it's cold. Now I know these carbs don't have chokes on them, but even so, I think what's happening is I'm putting the car away with the engine hot and fuel is evaporating from the float chambers, and then trying to turn it over on the starter, the mechanical fuel pump just isn't delivering fuel back to the carbs, and it's making it difficult to start. So hopefully this will solve that as well. So yeah, let's get it up in the air and have a look where to mount the pump. So I've got the wheel off to get a bit of working space, and the pump is going to have to go up there somewhere, next to the gearbox. I think it's probably the best bet. There's very little room in the engine bay itself, and it's a bit hot in there as well, really. So I'm probably going to mount it on this bulkhead here somewhere. I need to pick up the fuel line, which I believe is this one here, which is leaking. Oh dear. Right. Good job I'm doing this. That would have been a disaster. That fuel line is actually leaking there. So that fuel line comes in there, it's going to go up to the pump. Oops, hand it away. Comes in there, it's going to go up to the pump around here somewhere and then off to the engine. Wow, can't believe I caught that. That's really lucky. Yeah, very lucky. Right, get that sorted. Get the pump mounted up there somewhere, probably this kind of area, and then get it all plumbed in and then wired up. Right, quick update. I've got a couple of riv nuts on that bulkhead up there, ready to take the pump mount. I've got the new fuel line connected to the outlet from the floor pan, just up there with a new clip on it. The other end of this pipe is actually connected to the outlet of the pump. The reason for that is that it's easier to connect that on while it's on one long piece. This piece that comes from the tank obviously needs to go to the inlet of the pump, so I will figure out where to cut this when the pump is mounted and connect it to the inlet. The outlet's already connected, so I can then take it off into the engine bay and connect it to the fuel lines to the carbs. So yeah, next thing to do then is mount the pump up there and cut this line and stick it on there. Right, so you can see there, got the pump mounted and the filter in place there. I've still got a clamp on the line because the other end of the fuel pipe isn't connected to anything yet, so it's going to leak on the floor if I take that clamp off. So the next thing now is to take this outlet from the pump here and run it through into the engine bay and connect it up to the carbs. So up in the engine bay, this is the old fuel line that goes to the old mechanical pump. The old mechanical pump's going away, so that's all fine. And this line here goes down to this T-piece and then goes off to the two carbs. So this new pipe, which comes from the new pump, needs to connect onto that T-piece there, and everything else, this line, this pump and this line, can all go away. I've got a blanking plate that will cover up where the pump is going to be removed, and that'll make the engine bay a bit tidier as well. So that's all good. So yeah, crack on with that next. Right, slight hiccup. The fuel pipe that comes from the pump is 8mm diameter, and the fuel line that goes to that T is 5.5. So I've had to install a second filter there and use that as a reducer because it's got dual size barbs on it. So it's 8mm going in, 5.5mm coming out. That'll work fine. It just means there's an extra filter. I've got one there, and there's one under the tank as well. So yeah, the fuel that goes in this engine is going to be nice and clean. So that's cable tied out of the way, and I can take this clamp off here now actually and see if anything leaks. Pop that off. Right, nothing's happening so far. That's good. Right, I got the car back down again and get the old fuel pump taken out and all the old pipes, blank it off, and then we can look at the electrics for this one. Right, and that's it finished. I've wired it in to this point on the factory diagnostics block because that's a switched 12 volt supply through a fuse. The wire goes off. I need to trim the cable ties obviously, but I'll do that in a minute. It goes off down to the pump. It's not on a relay because it's quite a low current drain thing anyway, so it'll be fine. The actual wires that came pre-wired onto the pump are absolutely tiny, so it can't take much current. So that's it, it's earthed back to its own bracket. Let's see if it works. I'll just put you on the tripod. There we go, like so. See if it'll start. Excellent, I'm happy with that. Another great job. A couple more things to do before we go to Stamford Hall VW show on Sunday. I'll do those tomorrow night, put it all in the same video. Yeah, join me tomorrow when I do some more things to this car. So it's the next day and a couple of little jobs I'm going to do. The first one is to replace these leaky rocker cover gaskets with these nice finned aluminium ones. And the other thing is I'm going to wrap all the exhaust here with some header wrap, just to try and make it look nice, and also to try and keep some heat out of the engine bay. In particular, this muffler here is really close. Let's see if I get the camera up there. No, I can't. Right, the muffler is really close to the bellows that sucks in the cold air, so I don't want this heat getting into the cooling air. So I'm going to wrap the exhaust, take the muffler off. I can probably wrap the exhaust itself without taking it off, but the muffler needs to come off. Might give this tailpipe a lick of paint as well, and then make that all look nice and spiffy. Okay, you got the new rocker covers on with new gaskets, a little bit of sealant on the gasket just to stop it leaking. Got the exhaust all wrapped, got these bits of silencer painted, so that looks quite smart. The only problem is that I didn't quite have enough wrap, so I've had to leave that bit there. This is the piece that goes up to the back of the muffler. I'll have to get some more wrap and just do that. But otherwise, I'm quite happy with that. So, yeah, I think we'll call it a day here. This Sunday, I'm off to a car show, which is about 130 miles away, and I haven't driven this car that far before, so I just wanted to make sure everything was shipshape before we go. Hopefully it will, and if I remember, I'll take my camera and try and film that as well. So anyway, yeah, thanks for watching. Any comments or questions below are always welcomed, and don't forget to like and subscribe and all that, and I'll see you next time. Cheers, bye.